The Color of Light, Utopian Abstractions is truly a collaborative effort between the artists, the curators, the art centers. We have put the project together under very difficult times, as we all know. Under COVID, it's not been easy, but this is the effort of the hearts, the minds, and the souls of all the individuals involved. The color actually reflects all of this emotion, all of this energy. It's a very vibrant, bright, and alive exhibition. It is 5 artists coming from different parts of the world. Wolfe from America, Yves Ullens from Belgium, Gosugawa from Japan and France, Pascal Fancony from France, and Anton Ginzburg from the United States.
With incredible architectural heritage in our background, we are presenting contemporary works in the context of history of modern art in order to demonstrate the legacy of the avant-garde 20th century movements in our territory and to encourage the dialogue between this heritage and its heirs. With this exposition, we are able to demonstrate the ideas of the abstract expressionism. Through the works of the artists presented here, we give homage and pay tribute to Mark Rothko, and we encourage our audience to reflect on color and modulation of light as the mythical topics of painting.
When I walked into the exhibition, it was a very strong emotion for me because it's not about my own work, it's about my work with the work of other artists that are really talented. So it's really wow. In fact, I've been always focusing on light and color. This is really the main, if not only, the only topic of my work. And within the context of abstraction. That's why really into that exhibition I feel home. The colored contemplation is really into the Mark Rothko world because it's nearly religious. You need to take time. You need to really go into the picture. Then I have a second series that is much more still about light. But into that series, I had to cross borders, if I can say. I had to go further in the way that normally I limit myself to no retouch in my pictures. It means it's even stronger than that. Normally I take my picture full frame, no retouch, except for dust. Because if you got a classical analog camera, there's still dust on the pellicule. And if you got a digital camera, each time you start it or each time you take it off, there's a magnetic field that is generated and it attracts dust.
Julie's work is mostly related to the collective consciousness of our society. She takes everyday objects like books, eyes that we use every day to see things, clouds that we see in the atmosphere and in the sky, and she reinterprets these into her own vocabulary, which is related to color and related to light. The books, for example, these are objects that we really don't use in the same way that we used to use. Now we have things that are electronic, that are digital, but the books and their covers are relics almost today in our society. So Julie has reinterpreted these with her colors and created this gigantic color wheel, which is on the floor of the exhibition space. The Venus Cloud series is about the atmospheric effects on the planet of Venus and how those colors are constantly changing related to the light and the atmosphere, because many of her projects are related to scientific investigations and mapping and, as I said, the atmosphere and light. So how all of these things interplay with each other are all present in her works through the use of color.
This video was done as a collaboration with a musician, Michael Pizarro. It's focused on landscape representation and also the structural nature of the video production. So I intercut landscape footage, also mixed in with electronic feedback of various colors. As I was working on the video, we were sending the file back and forth with the composer, where it became almost like a format of exquisite corpse, where each one of us was reacting to a creative gesture of each other.
For Pascal Fancony, color is a universal language. He uses 3 primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, and conjugates them through 2 different approaches. One is physicalist, and the second one is metaphysical. In a physicalist approach, variety of forms, rhythm, chromatic modulation produce visual experience, phenomenological experience. But in the metaphysical approach, the color becomes a messenger of the soul. The artist's inner feelings, inner emotions take transcendent, reflective, and contemplative value. Pascal invites us to reflect on the relationships between color and being, to allow the color sublime us, to allow the color take on its spiritual power.
Gosugawa's works are just very ethereal objects. They are created in a 2-dimensional plane. The idea that he conceives is related to geometry, usually using the circle, the line, and the square. His works are sometimes related to the idea of the French artist Francois Mourier, who uses neon light, but also spacing and squares, and Joseph Albers, whose work is also related to the square. His shape of the object, he's just started to use the rectangular shape, but principally he's been keeping within the square, and he creates these 3D objects out of a 2D design. They're printed, and then they are enfolded to become these very light creations that look like the objects are actually floating. So there's a lot of references that you can take in Go's work, but primarily he's using a printing process that is based on the idea of mathematics and light. We are happy to show the works in such an environment as the Mark Rothko Center in Daugavpils, the true essence of abstraction, expressionist abstraction, and in the south of France, with the origins of Impressionism and the way that the light comes to our planet and is reflected in the visual expressions that we see created in concrete forms here today. We have painting, we have sculpture, we have video, we have drawings, and we have installation work. It really embodies the way that our eyes are able to capture the light and to process the information through our brains in logical and emotional ways. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the show.